Hello, everyone! I want to welcome you to a fun, exciting, and informative episode of Let's Talk About the League. I am your esteemed host and potential Lord, the one and only Sigtal Lord. I'm joined by Eternal Jeff, who is having some technical difficulties, and our very special guest today, Pistol Crab from Blitzkrieg. Pistol, you matter most, homie. How you doing?
Doing well. Happy to be here after a good week and ready to look at these games.
Oh, well, I'm hype. Uh, Infinite, how are you, you old scoundrel?
First off, you don't get to call me old when you're stroking out and calling me eternal at the beginning, and now going back to infinite. Like, no. I'm doing pretty good now that you remembered who I am. Pretty excited about this week's analysis.
Say that again. My hearing aids went out.
I'm just gonna say I will second that. Y'all really make it difficult for us with your similar names.
Mine doesn't even have Sigtal in it anymore, so
Yeah,
I did that to help. You're welcome.
yeah. Eternal in chat saying, "Yeah, I'm the commissioner now." Insert look at me.
Dude, you can have it. You can have it. It's all yours.
I'm just gonna start calling Sigtal Lord. Just Lord, what do you think of this matchup? It'll be.
Oh, verily.
We don't already do that?
Verily and blessed one, Jeff. Please allow me to partake. No, Jeff, how you doing, my man? I'm glad to see your technical issues got resolved.
Oh yeah, just took 18 years for my computer to boot up. But yeah, we good. We're excited to. I mean, we're getting to the back end of this split. There's going to be some really meaningful matches coming up. So this is big stuff. I like it.
This week could very well be the deciding week for some of our middle of the pack teams. So let's hop into talking about last week's week 3 games, and then we'll discuss week 4. Lots of exciting stuff to discuss. So let's hop right in. I want to go in reverse order of play. So let's talk about the Blitzkrieg Option 12 game first, because we have a wonderful guest with us today, Pistol Crab, who put on quite the showing. Blitzkrieg throughout those 2 games went 22-2 and 28. I just want to start with the question, Pistol, what is the key to success for Blitzkrieg? How are you guys able to be so dominant early game and then not let anybody start pacing back towards you at the end?
I mean, like in any other sport, esport aside, whatever you're playing, I think it comes down to the foundation you build, the fundamentals. And when you're going into a game of League, so much of what's going to happen is based on your draft and your game plan going in. So I think in both of the games this week, our draft was really strong. We knew what we wanted to do with lane prio, like getting into their jungle, that kind of stuff. But just a willingness from everybody. And, we argue sometimes on our team. That's how you become productive. But we establish a game plan in most of our games that goes into it, and it just worked really well this week.
Well, fantastic. We got a little bit of a clip to show, but I want to hear some great analysis from my other co-hosts. Infinite, tell me, do you really think that this was just a comp difference, or was there something else that allowed Blitzkrieg to be successful in this game? Is there anything from Option 12 that we need to look at?
I don't necessarily think it was a comp difference. I think Blitzkrieg has just figured out how to work super well together. They're overperforming what a lot of people, I think, imagined they were going to. Shout out to J-Dog. And I think Option 12 is just really struggling right now on how they win, like what they need to do in order to secure a win on their side. So I don't think it's necessarily so much about comp and more just difference in the teams, like general performance with each other.
I agree. Jeff, I think you have some very good insight into this. Talk to me about it.
I mean, Blitzkrieg just has looked like a machine the last couple of weeks. I mean, even having to sub in for somebody like Brandana, who was such a integral piece of their team and has been throughout the split. They subbed in Andy, who is also a very good player, an incredible player. So it's not like in terms of individual pure skill level they lost anything there. But I think that I saw them practicing with Andy throughout the week beforehand, so I knew that they would be ready for this. And I just thought it was kind of a nightmare of matchups for Option 12 because I think Option 12 is just trying to figure out what their game plan is right now. And I think Blitzkrieg is the kind of team that just gets in your face right away, makes you react, makes you make quick decisions. And if you don't know what your plan is, they will run over you. And I think that's exactly what happened in both of these games.
Couldn't agree more, and I want to talk about some of that. I want to show a clip of some of that running through them. Pistol, this is a beautiful highlight from Game 2. You're on Viego. You're getting ready to take second Drake. Let's play the clip.
At least, I don't know, there's a lot that don't.
Burn the Heretic rushing forward here does add some disruption. Gregosaurus already in trouble. Stopwatch OP, call your Congressman. Tilted Pig takes out Hecarim. Zach trying to bounce in, get some stuff done. Lizbear coming in as well. They are going to manage to get the swing. Can they get the other one as well? They do. Prowler very low. Will they be able to take this out? Suddenly, we have an evil Kaisa again. And
just so much solid, clean play coming out from this Viego, and I really like to show this clip because it not only shows your ability to fight as Viego, but your mastery and understanding of the kit of other champions, following up with that CC from the Galio, allowing yourself to gain some mobility from closing out those kills with the Kaisa. It was just very well done and well executed. Bravo.
Thank you. And just concerning this clip, I did want to bring up just kind of a few things because I think Game 2, it looked really bad for O12, but it was actually really close up until this point, right? So there was only a 2,000 gold difference at this point. You're talking 4 kills, which is nothing, but over these 2 minutes from minute 10 to minute 12, we got 10 more kills. We extended it to a 5.5k gold lead, and we got the Drake. And I think at that point it just kind of snowballed for the rest of the game, even though the first part of that game was so close.
I agree. Game 2 definitely looked much better on Option 12. The last question I have about this game is on blue side, both teams banned out Seraphine. And Seraphine's getting ready to get, or has already received some nerfs. And there are some potential ones coming through again with the changes to itemization that are happening to AP mages. What do you think it's going to take for her to fall out of... I mean, comparatively, she hasn't left high ELO play. She's still seeing pro play. And, I mean, we're such a diverse lower ELO team, tournament. Like, what's it going to take to get her out of the meta?
I mean, for Seraphine, I think this is kind of the same opinion of a lot of people that you talk to about Seraphine. If her ulti remains the same, she's always going to be relevant. Like, even when Sona was weak with her skills, because of her ultimate, she always came back into the meta because it's like, oh, you have this not super long range because Seraphine's out now, but you have this long range instant CC that can affect the whole team and you just have to deal with it. Seraphine's is Sona's, just better. So until something with maybe it just passes through allies and goes further, not necessarily through enemies to go further or something like that, I think she'll if you got rid of her all of her other skills, as long as she has that ulti the way it is now, she will remain relevant throughout everything, I think.
Oh, well, we'll have to see if Riot's willing to make that step. I mean, that'd pretty much be removing the outside of notes, the most unique identifier of her as a champion, her identity. Gregosaurus Rex chiming in is in chat. It's the same concept as Thresh to an extent. Doesn't matter how much damage nerfs you throw at it, the kit is nutty enough that you'll still see it from time to time, if not regularly. Hard agree. Utility is so valuable in this game. So, any final thoughts about Blitzkrieg versus Option 12?
Nope.
Well, I know if you need some more time, and we're talking about White Wolf, just let it scale, let it go into late game. We can talk about it at that point. Name a better combo in this league, late game and White Wolf. It's practically a match made in heaven. I was super pleased with the game one comp that White Wolf had executed. It is so fun seeing Vayne in games, and even more fun to see her in a solo lane. Also, in the same set, we got to see a Lee Sin from Alonzi Tardis. Even if it wasn't a win Alonzi, it was very well executed. I appreciate that pick. So, in that match, we did see Mixlink take a strong lead and play very well on the Amumu across 2 games. Pistol, he's your matchup for Week 5. It looks like he plays a lot of engaged tanks. How do you think that this will affect the game that y'all are going into? And please just don't hesitate to tell me TMI. Tell me if we need to stop talking about it.
Yeah, no, I mean all the secret strats revealed here. That's what the podcast is for. But yeah, no, Mixlink. So we've had Jester and Burn the last 2 weeks. Great junglers, super great playmaking junglers. You don't really see them on tanks all that often, even though Burn does play it from time to time. Mixlink is a different animal. You know, he's going to be that player where you might see the Rammus, the Zac, the Amumu like this week, where it was just amazing. This guy will basically play CC for his team, and it's really strong with the carries and lanes that he has. But like this week was amazing. Like the draft in the first game too, I was completely blown away by White Wolf and what they were able to do with the Shen and the Vayne and the split push, and it was just like flawlessly executed.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. It was a wonderful set. Jeff, what do you think? What do you think could have been some changes Phoenix could have made? Talk to me about it from their perspective.
I mean, they got that early lead. We were all talking about it. I was casting this matchup, and first of all, let me just say this was my favorite matchup that I've casted in a long time because it was so clear in what the win conditions were for each team. It was awesome. It was really exciting. And then Phoenix seemed to be on their way to achieving that win condition in game one, and then they just took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. And with the Vayne mid, a Kaisa, a bunch of tanks, it just got to the point where they couldn't fight anymore. And that was disappointing. But I was happy that Phoenix went into it with a mentality of just taking the fight to him. They did take the fight to him early, but then I think that they got a little over aggressive. There was one play, I think, around White Wolf's blue buff where it looked like Pointy Ball and Alonzi Tardis basically tried to 2v5, and it really got punished. And that seemed like a turning point in the game. So I appreciated what they were trying to do, but I think it just needed a little bit better execution.
Infinite. You think he's correct there? You got any other dynamic feedback for these teams?
Yeah, I kind of agree with almost everything he said. I kind of think also that picking the same top lane both games wasn't necessarily the best choice. Not that he didn't perform well or anything like that, but we've seen Eternal kind of actually outperforming compared to what a lot of people thought a lot this split and last split even as well. And his I'm gonna call him out right now. His main champ right now is extremely good. Like he's just a very, very good champ right now in the game. He's in a pretty healthy spot, and he hasn't pulled him out a single time. So I'm not saying it would have made any difference or anything. I'm kind of disappointed in him. So
that performance on Volibear was very impressive. He continues to shine.
It was.
I'm fully invested, like I've said before, in this anime, and I'm gonna make the reference 100 times more. Please, guys, make the merch, set up, get to animating. I'm hype. So while we wrap up this set, I'm seeing a lot of AD Yumi, top Yumi, jungle Yumi talk. And I want y'all to know we put how much time into discussing with a professional level of work and analysis for these games. If one of you bring an off lane or an off meta Yumi pick into this, I'm personally holding it as an attack against me and the work I do for this league. I'll be coming for your neck. If I have to spend 5 minutes trying to correctly analyze and prepare to discuss AD Yumi top, somebody's getting it. So let's wrap up this discussion of week 3 with Nine Lives versus Northern Storm. So um, this is a touchy topic for a lot of people. Uh, it's very clear that after game 1, there was a decrease in competitive environment due to some of the choices that Nine Lives made. You can go to our Facebook or through our Discord, go to the announcements section, and see the announcement made by Infinite. I'll give him the opportunity to talk more about that. We will be talking about this set and analyzing set 1 critically, and there is some solid things that we can discuss from game 2. But we hope that players will check out our Facebook, check out the Discord, read that ruling, and also make sure you're reviewing the rule book to see how we've elaborated and clarified a lot of information on role swapping and lane swapping and all the impacts that this set had on our rule books going forward. So let's hop right into it. I think game 1, if we're gonna talk about this from the perspective of Northern Storm, to not talk about the complete clinic that Jester put on in that Olaf game is fundamental to their success. It's so critical to praise it in the same light as this bot lane, this double mage bot lane, because it just put them in a position where, what do? Do you itemize against the Morgana Lux, or do you prepare for the Olaf in mid game that's just going to walk down right to your carries? Very impressive. I'm very excited to see comps like this, and it was a fun game to watch. So I hope we can see more of that in the upcoming weeks. Jeff, your thoughts?
I mean, I think that this was a good series, to be honest. And obviously, it still has yet to be formally decided. But I thought that Northern Storm played very well in game 1. I thought that the Lux Morgana that was run bot lane just looked absolutely infuriating to play against. And that's a testament to how Token and Princess Peach did. When something looks infuriating, that means that you're doing it well. At the same time, I think that Nine Lives, particularly, I want to point out Wraith Ghost. I think Wraith Ghost looked like a really, really good top laner this week, and I know that technically Game 2 might not count, but I think the top lane was very, very minimally influenced by any sort of the controversy that we've talked about or that has been discussed. So I think that Wraith Ghost's performance cannot be, just swiped under the table there. And I think that is an interesting possibility for Nine Lives going forward. If you have, a guy up in top lane who can really, really win that lane, do things, that gives you a reprieve from feeling like you have to just get in this General Wally play Kog'Maw, General Wally play Aphelios type of hard carry style, and it's exciting to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Nine Lives can do in the future, but I also want to give credit to Northern Storm because I think that they did look like a very, very flexible and potent team in this matchup.
Hard agree. Infinite.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Wraith Ghost's performance, especially. I'm glad you touched on that. I think that both games were, even though, as we've said about 10,000 times, the second game isn't going to officially count. We can still give good credit where credit is due. And I think that Nine Lives, had they played that differently, but used kind of the same team comp, but fallen into the rules of the game, the way they played, there's a good chance the outcome would have been, pretty close to the same. They just played very well around the team that they drafted. As far as that game 1 though, my gosh, I loved watching the double mage bot lane, but as someone who's played against it a lot, it is a nightmare, and I can't stand being in that situation. So I can empathize with the frustration that came from that. But yeah, I think that Jester Something that I found interesting about this game is it kind of maybe shows that what I said last week might be true. The games where Jester really shows up, plays, and performs, even if he's not the main reason or the only reason his team wins, for whatever reason, they do so well as a unit that they are an incredible force to deal with. So it's kind of made me start thinking if Northern Storm is just a solid team with one team that is just going to be really good against them. And if that is the case, then they definitely are a team to be reckoned with.
I agree. Well, that wraps up our discussion of week 3 games.
Can I say something about the week 3 real quick? Is that cool?
Of course, yes.
Go.
Yes. Venerable guest, please.
Yeah, sorry. So, piggybacking off what Infinite just said, because Jester did have the rough game the week prior. That was against us, and going into it, Jester is basically the heart of that team. If you want to attack Northern Storm as a team, you have to go jungle. But following that game, I talked to Jester about some of the stuff in the game, and every time I got on this week leading up to the week, Jester was solo queuing. Jester was like just jungle game after jungle game after jungle game. Like he took that week personally, and it was so impressive how he picked himself up and just absolutely carried that first game. It works against a comp that wants to protect their AD carry, somebody that cannot be stopped from getting to your AD carry. So it was really good that got ahead. Even though game 2 is kind of a wash, beating a broken drum there, I did want to talk about the draft real quick. With game 2, I really like the kind of the skirmish zone comp that 9 Lives was drafting. I think as we saw in the first couple weeks, you can't just draft protect the AD carry, right? You have to pick things that do damage or utility as well. So if you get a champion like a Bard or a Jarvan, and those are able to create smaller skirmishes where you can win it and then keep pushing forward, I think that may be a better identity for 9 Lives moving forward. And then whether you see like a Kale or a Shen or a Tom, not something that's pure support in the top lane, but something that can help your AD carry late game, alongside like a Galio or a Zillion, Karma, Morgana mid, I think that might work in the future for 9 Lives better than just like a put everything in to protect the Wally comp.
Excellent feedback, and I want to hear some more points related to that when we discuss their upcoming week game. Gregosaurus Rex again in chat. Props to Pistol for being a stand-up opponent. So people are really respecting the work you do, man. Keep it up. Folks, that wraps up our discussion of week 3. Before we go into week 4, I do want to talk about mental health. Instead of a sponsor, we have decided to give our time to discuss the National Helpline for Mental Health. Behavioral health issues affect millions of adolescents and adults in the United States. Approximately 1 out of every 5 adults have some form of mental illness. In 2014, of the nearly 44 million Americans who are living with the disorder, less than half received any treatment or services. In lieu of a sponsor, the LCUS has chosen to take this time to highlight the National Mental Health Helpline. Save it, share it, use it. This resource is available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and can help callers find many different types of mental health support in their local area. Furthermore, the National Mental Health Hotline is free and confidential. If you or someone you know is struggling and in need of help, call 1-800-662-4357. On the screen, that's 1-800-662-HELP. All right. Looking at it, we are seeing some subs roll in. That is 5 Tier 1 subs coming out from Tashasaurus Rex. Tashasaur, I think you are the Rex today. You definitely earned that Queen title, like that Rex title. Fantastic. Thank you so much for supporting our channel. Guys, another thing that keeps the lights on outside of fantastic subscriptions like that are your Twitch Prime subs. You would utilize the free shipping, so please utilize that free sub and give it to us. It helps keep the lights on, helps us keep a good podcast going. So I want to clarify something. In the past, I had said new player of the week, and I feel like after getting feedback from a lot of people thinking that it was like merit driven, where it was performance based, I want to clarify. We just want to talk about new players in the LCUS and give them a chance to introduce themselves through some very simple questions. So please understand it's not performance based. This is just a new player spotlight, and that's what we're going to call it going forward. So this week's new player spotlight is, drum roll please,
Boom, 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 boom.
Idle Lights. Idle Lights, we are so glad you're with us in this league. I had sent him a few questions, and his response, I'm just going to read his response, as I think it's probably the most interesting thing anyone said so far. So, J4 is his favorite champion, and in tandem with that... Oh, protect your emotions. Get to your safe space, kiddos. Get to your safe space. J4 is my favorite easily, and in tandem with that, Darkstar is his favorite skin line, so he really likes Darkstar Jarvan. His pocket pick is Nasus Jungle, because if you got a decently safe team, you can just ignore the lanes, scale up for 20 minutes, and then be unstoppable. The thing that I think is the most interesting about Idle, and why this man will forever be a legend, he plays the game instead of on QWER on ASDF because of the QWER on his old keyboard missing keys. So his summoners are on QW.
What?
His summoners are on QW.
What?
That's actually insane.
What?
And he puts the flash on W.
Hmm.
Yeah, let me repeat that. He plays on ASDF, and his summoners are on QW. This man is living in the year 3000, pressing his summoner spells with a pinky.
Is he using a track? Is he using a trackball or like a writing pad for his mouse at that point? 'Cause
Yeah, I was gonna say our next guest can be like, I have a 12-button mouse. I don't actually even use a keyboard.
Whew. Well, on top of
That's
that, he said the match he's looking forward to is the Option 12 match. Heretic is his boy, and he likes that rivalry. So we love to hear about those rivalries, and we love to see our new players. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we are so glad to have you in the league. Slackosaurus Rex. Wait, I play on ASDF too. Whew.
What?
Oh,
What is happening?
I mean, guys, just tell somebody you need a keyboard. I mean, I'll jack a Circuit City or something. I don't know. We'll get it figured out.
Does Circuit Sissy still exist? Is that still around?
I mean,
no,
there
no,
probably.
it's annoying shit.
I probably would have. I probably would have said there are as many Circuit Cities as there are ASDF players, but we've got maybe the only two in our whole league. So, whew, okay.
All right. What a twist. What a twist.
Good times. So let's hop in and talk about Week 4. Let's talk first the match that will be Week 4 at 5:30 CST on March the 14th is Option 12 versus Northern Storm. So this is a chance for an odd meta bot lane from Northern Storm that showed they're willing to go double mage and play that into another team that hates the meta and wants to play off meta picks in the bot lane. I think that's pretty hype. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to see both these teams walk in with that knowledge and give us the appropriate 4-mage bot fiesta. So I want nothing but mages across all the bot lane, and I think it would just be hype. It would be so good to see. Now, that being said, I do think that this is going to go 2-0 Northern Storm. I think that there are some points where Option 12 need to begin thinking about some other, the 13th option perhaps. Maybe putting Shaken on a carry. Maybe reevaluating your mage priorities in the mid lane. But I think that this is Northern Storm's game to lose, and they're definitely going into it with an advantage. So let's hear from our guest. I've talked about the bot lane, and it sounds like you've got incredibly good mental lockdown on the state of the jungle in this league. So, Crab, tell me, 12 versus Northern Storm. Who walks out? Who wins?
I actually think this one's going to be even. I'm predicting a 1-1 this week from 012 and Northern Storm. The reason being is the same way Jester, he took the loss personally the week before, had a crazy week this week. I think Burn's going to do the exact same thing. I saw him queuing late last night, burning the midnight oil. He's not going to let what happened to him happen again this week. And I think the rest of the 012 team is the same. I mean, they have 1 point going into this week. They're basically must win or must tie to keep their playoff hopes alive, and I can't see them going 0-2 as a team. That being said, I do think a couple things need to shake up about their draft. They both have really good top laners, and Ornn and Zach may be the champions you see up there, even though you'd love to see them on more of a carry. They've been playing it all year. May just be wet noodle tank matchup, and Kenos will love it, but who knows what they're going to pull out. I'd love to see Prowler on a more unconventional ADC, especially with the threat of the double mage bot like he did the first week. Maybe not something as crazy as a set, but I think maybe a Pantheon AD carry or something like Assassiny Engage. Maybe a Pike AD carry would work really well. They're just going up against Token and Peach, who have really good synergy. So I think all the other lanes are going to be fairly even, and the jungle matchup's super interesting with Burn and Jester. But I think bot lane is where this game's going to be won or lost.
Beautiful insight. Continue talking about Shaken. I think Infinite has some insight on that. Infinite?
Yeah, I just feel like Shaken hasn't had his moment to shine this split, and I know he can. Like I have so much faith in you, man. You just got to put you on the right carries, and then just let you do what you got to do. On the same note, I agree that Prowler probably should try some of these. It's week 4. Your team's pretty far behind in the points. You're not out of it necessarily, but start pulling out some of the crazier stuff that you maybe thought it might be too risky to try this. Risk is what you need right now. Go all in. If there's a crazy comp that you guys maybe played once and it worked real well, and you're like, but would it work against an organized team? Try it. At this point, just try it. That being said, I think that the entire outcome of this is based on game 1. I think if Northern Storm wins game 1, then it goes 0-2 for Northern Storm. I think if option 12 wins game 1, then it's probably a 1-1.
Good insight. I see chat popping off, still stuck on this Yumi thing, and Pistol going to insult us like this, hopping into the conversation along with the rest of the degenerates. Pitching Garen
I'm just
Yumi.
saying, if he wants to play off meta, Garen Yumi's really good still, and it could work out if they don't ban it.
That was such a fun Worlds meta. I'm really excited to see Garen Yumi in every game. So thanks. Great. We needed that.
Ew. No, we didn't.
Hey, I promise you we won't play that this week. It's okay.
Jeff, can you elevate us out of this scum pile that we're in right now? What's your insight into this game?
This is, it's going to be somewhat of a repeat, but I think I can expand upon it. I think that option 12, first of all, let's all be real. Everyone on this panel except me picked them to be number 1. So first of all, let me just be proud of that. But secondly, let's all be real. I did pick option 12 to be number 2. I had them number 2 in my power rankings, and so obviously that there was a lot of merit for them to be considered a very strong team coming into this split. And it just hasn't panned out. And there are many reasons for that. You can't put it on any particular lane, any particular player, but for whatever reason, it hasn't worked out. At this point, it just looks like they're tilted. It just looks like, the entire series against Blitzkrieg this last week, they were firing ash arrows and then trying to hard initiate while down like a ton of gold. It just looks like they don't really know what their plan is. And so I like what some of my fellow analysts have said in the last few minutes, which is just go back to your strengths. And unfortunately, I don't think that playing a traditional bot lane is the right way for option 12 to play the rest of the way. I think that, Queen Elizabeth can play, I know Queen Elizabeth can play Senna very, very well. So that enables you to put Prowler on some a Pantheon, or even, I don't know if this necessarily works, but try putting him on an Urgot or something like that. See how that works, because right now what you're doing is not working. So it's fine to just go crazy in the weeks to come, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it's broke, you gotta try to fix it. And right now, I would say that Northern Storm looks less broke than Oxen 12. So yeah, I'm predicting a 2-0 for Northern Storm right now.
I think it's interesting, and to get a little deep on you folks. Let me get the mic close. Uh, I see a lot of conversation, and you're talking about Panera, and I feel like that's an accurate comparison to Prowler. Prowler is by and large one of the most talented players in our league. He's a wonderful top laner. He's a wonderful jungler, just like Bread. Bread is a wonderful thing to make sandwiches out of, and even eat on its own. But a bread bowl, it's just out of position. It's not in the right. It's just not in the right place. It's not playing into its correct meta. So I think that the bread bowl meta is what's hurting Prowler, and we need to move back into the sandwich meta. We need to move into the charcuterie meta, but Prowler is not a bread bowl meta ADC.
I
Well,
do just want to say one
happening.
more thing about Prowler.
Called senile.
Yeah, that's it. That's a tangent if I've heard one. But I'm ready to give Prowler the keys to the kingdom on what big glaring mistake he's making as far as bot lane goes. And that is, he needs to move his feet when he auto attacks. If you watch a lot of his matches the last 2 weeks on an 80 carry, he will stand in the same place and just auto attack whatever's closest. Prowler, this is for you, bud. But you need to move in between your auto attacks. Otherwise, people are going to catch you out. That's all I got on that one.
Damn.
So to that note, actually, it's funny you say that, because that I feel like most people who don't start start their play with ADC, or maybe not most, but a lot, myself included. When I played like mid and jungle exclusively, transitioning to ADC was really hard for me, and I had never used the attack move button. That thing's a godsend. So maybe he doesn't have that hotkeyed. But yeah, that would be my addition to your good point that you just made.
Yeah, if you want a champion to practice it on, Jhin, because of the crits when he gets the extra movement speed, so you'll really have to find out what am I going to do in between these auto attacks. Hyperspeed Jhin, one of my favorite 80 carries to play, because it's just so fun to move around in between attacks. But I think that'll really help him out if he does want to play a conventional 80 carry.
Well, I think Prowler is the speed, so that makes sense. Well, that wraps up Option 12 versus Northern Storm. So our next match of the night is Non-Lives versus White Wolf. I think after a turbulent week one, this is an opportunity for them to reevaluate as a team. Non-Lives, that is. White Wolf didn't have a turbulent week. This is their week to lose. If it's the ball's in their court. I hope we can see a more stable and competitive game out of Non-Lives. I can't help but get, if I wrap my head around this, and the only way I know how is looking at it through the lens of pro play, and this hard decision to, no matter the meta, to play through your AD, to play through your bot lane carry, is Royal Never Give Up. So if we put this into the comparison of Protect the Puppy, like they would run, they're it's impossible not to say that Wally is one of the best players in the game, and it's a great comparison to Uzi, because Uzi is probably one of the best to ever touch a keyboard. The guy's probably still, I think to this day, he's still the kill leader in the LCK. The LPL. But he only won the LPL twice, and he only won at MSI. So reevaluate, because there are times when you got to let the puppy die, and you got to be willing to play through these other lanes. We talked about it some when we talked about week 3, but week 4 is your opportunity to let the puppy die. Move on, play through these talented players like you have Idolites, Wraith Ghost, Diet Cuba Libre. Please, I'm excited to see the new opportunities that this team and how they capitalize on it. Uh, Jeff, please, you got a wall of text there, and I'm excited to hear about it.
Well, I feel like this is actually a pretty good matchup for Nine Lives. It feels weird to say that, given that White Wolf is coming off 4 straight wins. They look pretty good, pretty solid. There's been some sloppiness along the way, and Nine Lives. Obviously the jury is out on one particular game since then, but they haven't looked so hot in the last couple weeks. But the thing that we have talked about for the last couple weeks that needs to be addressed is that White Wolf, they are still playing this, as you, Sigtal Lord, said a couple weeks ago. They're still playing this like 2017 Korean meta, where it's slow, it's suffocating, it's objective based, and that's fine. But that might not be the right play against Nine Lives, where you've got this team that wants to put Wally on somebody like a Felios or Kog'Maw or somebody like that and just let everybody scale up. Just get to this point where you're this juggernaut death ball just rolling around the mid lane, and you can never kill Wally before he kills the other 5 people on your team. So this will be an interesting week for me for both teams, because Nine Lives, I still think that they need to diversify, but even if they don't, this could be a chance for their signature style to actually work. Meanwhile, if you're White Wolf, this is a chance to prove that you can play a different style, and if you don't, you might get hard exposed. So, I mean, just in terms of probability, just in terms of recent performances, I do pick White Wolf for a 2-0 here because they have looked more, I don't know, for lack of a better word, successful in the last couple of weeks. But I do think that the play styles of these teams could make for an intriguing matchup.
I agree. That they could be pretty hype seeing a White Wolf in God form in late game versus a scaled up Wally and the rest of the crew in Nine Lives. That could be interesting. Pistol, your thoughts?
Yeah, so and I kind of alluded to it when I was analyzing the game that they had this week. I do like White Wolf 2-0 this week. They're on a roll. They're really strong. Ace is playing out of his mind. But I think how Nine Lives should think about their comp moving forward, because we've seen, like you, as you said, it's protect the puppy, like let the puppy die, but maybe just let the puppy play. Like a lot of these games, Wally, you can see it. He's expected to be able to 1v9, right? He's expected to be like, oh, you have Kog'Maw and you have all these shields, kill everybody. But even for the best players, that amount of pressure, like you don't feel like you're playing the game. You have these missions that you are completing, and hopefully you can get it done. But that's not how it works. So what I'd like to see from Nine Lives this week, instead of picking a bunch of shields or protect or anything, I want to see Relexus on a playmaking bot. I know we hate it in chat, but like a Pyke, if he gets his Alistar this week, even like a Taric could be super good with the CC and the Invuln. Wally on an AD carry that's fun but has an escape like a Lucian or a Kaisa. And then maybe just things that break up the battlefield. If there's like a Talia jungle, if there's a Jarvan jungle, Tom Kench or a Kale top, like things that aren't necessarily intended to support, but have the ability to support alongside of them carrying themselves. And I think they'll do a really good job if that happens, but I still think it's to a White Wolf this week.
I'm gonna chime in real quick. I like what you said about the different champs that you think they should play. I am gonna disagree a little bit on the support pick though. I think Relexus is a very mechanically gifted player. Anyone who can play Gangplank very well, it's hard to argue that they aren't, pretty good at playing some of these more complex champs. I want to see him on some damage. The Pyke, I think, would be in it. I know everyone in chat's losing their mind saying, not Pyke, not Pyke. Something like that, or just really any other high damage support. Because he is one of the other really strong players on your team. But if he's only there to enable Wally, I feel like you're taking a lot out of your team by doing that. With the exception of Alistair, apparently, because he had some great plays on that as well. But yeah, I agree with the other points you made. These other players, don't put them on protect Wally duty. Put them on, just let them play something else that's going to impact the game in a different way. That's harder to kind of anticipate and deal with, because we saw them pick 4 champs that are really good at protecting one person, and it still didn't really work out. So I'm also going to White Wolf though for this one.
Excellent points, and I love the discussion. Divakin, please do not hesitate to continue to chime in with this pike hate. Anyone with an execute that ignores shields, yeah, they can go right up river. Gregosaurus Rex, put me back in the support role. I'll play pike. Just play it mid. This is your chance. So let's talk about let's talk about what picks we could see mid sometime. I would love to see a pike mid. That's pretty exciting stuff. But let's hop in and talk about our last game of the set, and that is my hypest set. Blitzkrieg
So hype.
versus
Oh, so hype. So hype.
This is like the season finale of season 1 of Sigta Eternal, the anime. So folks, make sure you're watching for the after credit scene after this match. I mean, we're seeing the dog playing against the dog player. We're seeing Pistol, who's going to be able to shoot on the TARDIS. The unbannable Brandana versus the Mage Monster. The bot lane, probably the most dependable bot lane in the league, versus the A-game bot lane. I'm hype. I think this is going to go 1-1. I'm showing up to this with the exact same attitude I showed up to Avengers Endgame. I don't care about the plot. I just want to see blood and violence and someone putting on very nice fashion accessories in the form of gloves. So if I can't get 2 out of the 3, I'm going to be upset. Infinite, what do you think's going to happen? Blitzkrieg, Phoenix.
I agree that this is probably the most interesting one of the night. I think the outcome is going to be 1-1, but I do think that it's going to be interesting watching the top lane, because both of these players are players that, let's be honest, both these players are players that we just as a community didn't really see a whole lot of success in. A lot of that bias from previous split for J-Dog and Sigtal Eternal, just because he is one of the lower ranked players on the team. But they're both dominating their games right now, so that's going to be such a fun matchup to watch. At the same time, I think the bot lane is going to be very interesting as well, especially if Smokey plays anyway like he did the other day on Swain. That was some of the best Swain play, and we see Swain quite often, but he was landing everything, every hook he threw out. Hook, snare, I don't really know what to call it. It's kind of a weird hook. But yeah, so I'm really excited for this. I think it'll be pretty back and forth the entire time. I expect it to be a very even match until the Nexus falls for both these games. I'm going 1-1 just because it's honestly, in my opinion, it's that unpredictable.
I think Swain would be categorized as a grab, and where he utilizes a claw to do it, it would be glove eligible. So if we do see the Swain pick, guys, I expect to see the appropriate accessories with it. Crab, tell me what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? TARDIS has showed an incredibly diverse pool. Even in their losses, he's showing stability late game. I thought that he had more than enough successful play on the Lee during his last set, which even though he lost, I mean, how do you prepare for someone like that? Please tell me about your mentality going into this game, what you think the jungle matchup's going to be like. And I think one thing that you don't talk about when you talk about Blitzkrieg is this bot lane. It's not one that pops off, but it's one that never ends the laning phase behind. I mean, they're workhorses. So what are you guys doing to maintain that? What are you expecting?
Yeah, so I mean, without giving away too much, so first of all, let's look at the jungle, right? Alonzi plays a ton of CC or team-driven junglers. He's very good on his clears. He's very good on his timings, and he usually ganks lanes very well. So he's a very good jungle. As far as preparing for a jungle matchup, same as what happened with Burn and Jester. I'm gonna go back I'm gonna look at all the ward placements. I'm gonna look at the jungle timings, try to find a pattern that hopefully I can eat off of, right? And each lane this week is super interesting. Just not even from like a being in this game matchup, just like kind of a spectator's eye on this. Because like top lane, yeah, you have the Sigtao, you got the Sigtao anime, but you have the J Dog redemption arc. J Dog has made it abundantly clear that he doesn't need to play carries to like feel successful. He just wants to win this year. So you've seen the Malphite, you've seen the Set, you've seen the Darius. This dude can play whatever he wants this year, and he's willing to sacrifice doing damage for being more of a tank. Pointy Ball's been nothing short of just outstandingly impressive this whole split. But our mid laner has a champion pool as deep as the ocean. Yes, J Dog is the most handsome top laner as well. So you cannot ban out Brandana. Mechanically, I don't think there's a better player than Brandana in the league. And then as far as the bot line, like, yeah, they have really good players. I played with Alpha the other day. That dude's amazing in any role. And Amaya is shown to be a great playmaker all split. But I guarantee you there is nobody in this league, even Token and Peach aside, that has better synergy than Tilted and Smokey. And just a shout out to Smokey real quick. This guy's been playing League for little over a year, and as a veteran player, him tripling my Vision score in almost every game is ridiculous. So hats off to him. Vision wins games, but I'm confident in our team, and I'm picking 2-0.
I can get with it. I love the energy. Now, I did want to take this opportunity when we talk about the set. So you called it a redemption arc for J Dog. As the man whose seat you took, as the prior jungler for Blitzkrieg, I just want to express the amount of joy it is that I personally feel when at the start of this split people looked at the legacy of Blitzkrieg and that logo and thought of the split that I had, and even worse, the split before it, where they had the same record but nowhere near as handsome as the Gamers. All respect to that prior squad, which a few friends I know that's listening were on that. It's fantastic. I love it, and I'm hyped to see exactly how this weekend goes for you. But I think that there's one set of feedback that I'm excited to hear about. And looking at your notes, Jeff, tell me what you think is going to be the best part.
Oh man, I mean, you guys have already covered a lot of this, so I'll probably come off as a broken record, but I don't even care because it's worth spinning the disc about. Pointy Ball versus Brandana. Man, this is the best player matchup of the week, and it might be the most hype player matchup that I particularly have seen in a long, long time, because these two guys have both been a part of the LCUS for a long, long time. Both of these guys have been around longer than I've been around. They both have played all kinds of positions. I know Brandana was top lane last split, excuse me, point and ball AD carry last split. These guys, they can play all over the map and they carry from wherever they go. And it just so happens that they both decide to go mid lane. And thank goodness, no offense to Andy, who did a great job subbing in for Blitzkrieg last week, but thank goodness that Brandana didn't sub out this week, because these two guys going at it, it's not only going to be a hype lane matchup, but it's going to draw so much attention from the junglers. In my opinion, Pistol Crab, he might try to dispute this, or maybe just try to play a card here. But I feel like this matchup is so hype that you will have people roaming up. There will be 2v2s, 3v3s, 4v3s all over the place in this matchup, because both of these guys are not only so good, but are also so good at such a wide variety of things that there's no telling what the matchup is going to be. There's no telling. There's going to be so many flex picks. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited. And I'm so glad that you didn't skip me, because I thought that you were good.
No, I only do that to the unimportant co-host. Well,
Speaking of, hey, I've got a question for you, real quick, Pistol Crab.
Yeah.
Do you and Token know each other?
No, not at all.
If you two ever end up on the same team, I'm truly terrified that you two would just sit and do homework and know every single detail about every single player that's playing in that split.
I'm very analytics driven, especially as a jungler. I think like we definitely everyone rewatches it on our team, and we all just kind of throw input there to form a game plan. But we got like spreadsheets for mock drafts and all that stuff. It's very analytically driven. So if that's how Token is, I would love to be on a team with him eventually.
Token,
mean,
if you're
yeah.
watching, now's your time to chime in, bud, and be like, yeah,
The
I'm
not real
bromance
quick,
is born.
like we kind of talked about it, but just want to shout out Andy real quick. He like came into our team as a sub, and he was totally willing. Like he's like, "Here's my champion pool. What do you want me to play? What are we planning to do?" So that whoever was in charge of giving us that sub, that was amazing.
Oh, he was a damn beast. Yeah, he was incredible.
So good. And just your performance in general, Pistol, has been fantastic. And your performance on this podcast might be the only thing you did better than jungling in the last few games. So
I feel like he's trying to take our jobs right now.
Yeah,
every single guest we bring on the show brings me this much closer to the unemployment line. So, if you're illiterate and think this is Dota, please sign up to be our guest next week. We'd love to have you. But folks, I want to thank you so much for this this long, going a little long episode of Let's Talk About the League, because we weren't able to get a complete week last week due to the ruling on the non-lives game. What we're going to do, we do not worship the coin without a completed set, so we won't be doing coin today. Also, we're not going to post rankings. Please make sure you're keeping an eye open for when that rematch is posted. We hope you'll join us for that exciting Game 2 of Non-Lives versus Northern Storm. I hope you'll join us this upcoming Sunday for exciting Week 4 play. We have Option 12 versus Northern Storm at 5:30 CST. These games go in order, so as soon as the set is over, the next game will begin. Set 2 is at 7:15. That is Non-Lives versus White Wolf Gaming. And then Set 3 is Blitzkrieg versus Phoenix. Should be a good time. I want to thank my wonderful co-hosts, my guests from the show today. I want to thank the people that help moderate and organize our Discord, our Facebook, for making this the best amateur league out there. I want to thank our casters for constantly keeping the A game going. So that's Jeff, Kinos, and Arcane Soda. Infinite, you guys knock it out of the park every week. You make the games exciting and engaging, so thank you so much. And most of all, this week I want to give a special shout out to our community of players. There are times where we have to keep in mind that the whole point of this league is we are a league that's based around a community, and our games are the best when our community is the strongest. And this week, this community really stood together in a time where things could have fallen apart. And on a personal level, someone that's been involved with the split for seven splits, a few years now, it was heartwarming to see everybody really rise to the occasion. So thank you. You guys are the best. And again, keep being the best and join us next week when we talk about the league. Thank you and have a great night.